Hello, everyone. Dr. Vicky here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center. Today I'm going to do a video on Stephen Miller, and I'm calling this series a Basket of Deplorables. We're going to start with Stephen. This is an example of the type of reading that I do for people. And generally, this is something I would share with my members and my Patreon, but I'm going to share it with everybody this month because I want to introduce you, for those of you who don't really know what I do, the type of work that I do, in preparation for the fact that I'm starting a introduction to the Kabbalah class. It's going to be starting on the 15th of May. That is a Thursday evening. It's going to go from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern, and it's held on six consecutive um, Thursdays. So it is a 6-week class held on consecutive Thursdays. All classes are recorded, and you get the video and you get the notes. So even if you can't make all the classes, you still won't miss anything. So let's get started and take a look at deplorable number one. Now, Stephen Miller is the is he the Homeland Security? Hold on. He's not the czar. That's the other guy. We have to see if we can do a deplorable on him. Hold on. I'll give you Stephen's official title. So, Stephen Miller is an American political advisor serving as the 12th United States Homeland Security Advisor and White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy since 2025. Of course, he's a member of the Republican Party and previously served as senior advisor for policy and White House director of speechwriting during Donald Trump's first term. His politics have been described as right-wing and anti-immigration. Okay, so that's what it says in Wikipedia. You can get all this information yourself that way. So let me share my screen now, and we'll take a look at Stephen. All right, where is he? Okay, I think he's over here. Yep. Okay. All right. I'm calling this a basket of deplorables. The administration, the administration of injustice. Okay. Stephen Miller was born August 23rd, 1985 in Santa Monica, California. I did get a time of birth. I got this from AstroTheme, and according to AstroTheme, this is a from his birth certificate, and we have a 4:53 p.m. So when I'm working with the Kabbalah and the astrology and the numerology, one of the first places I start is with the name. Now, your name is the vibration that you enter this life with. It describes who you've been previously, what you understand, what you need to stay in good relationship with, and your talents and abilities that you bring forth. Themes and the like. Now, it can vary in different ways, and of course, we express things in different ways. So we can separate the name by vowels and consonants. The vowels are considered the inner feminine, and the consonants are considered the outer masculine. That sort of balance of yin and yang. The soul vibration, or the vowels, is considered who we truly are on the inside. And when we add Stephen Miller's vowels up, we get a 24/6. Now, 6 is a number that generally associated with responsibility, a sense of family, a sense of community, a sense of responsibility to the community. Now, it's very possible that Stephen has a sense of responsibility to the community, but it's a specific community for him, right? It's perhaps white nationalist, anti-immigration community. The 24/6 in the tarot is the queen of the Queen of Wands. It is a Leo vibration, and he does have Leo in his chart. He has both Mercury and Mars actually conjunct in Leo. So he does have Leo energy. So really, if we were to look at his soul vibration, it might most easily be expressed through his Mars and his Mercury. His consonants are the outer persona, the outer personality. And when we add that vibration up, we get a 42-6, another 6 vibration, right? So the same themes apply, the themes of responsibility to the community, a sense of responsibility to the community. However, the 42-6 is actually the Two of Cups. And so we have fire in the soul and water in the outer personality. Whenever we see fire and water together, in a name, it generally means that this lifetime is a spiritual initiation of sorts. So we have the inner and outer self. How does he find balance with that? Well, we add those two vibrations together and we get something called an expression. And this is how somebody expresses themselves or impresses themselves on the world. It also is a point of balance. And it's an easy way to look to see if this person is actually in balance by seeing how well he manifests or expresses his expression, as it were. And so when we add it up, we get a 66. A 66-3. Now, I do include the double numbers beyond 33 as master numbers. I do sort of, they're not exactly master numbers, but I find that those double vibrations are generally held to a higher, um, are asked to express in a higher way. Of course, it doesn't always work that way. Problem is if it doesn't work that way, you tend to pay more of a price, right? Because the more you know, the more you're responsible for. The 66-3 is the Queen of Pentacles, is the Queen of Pentacles. And then we have, so that's Stephen as he comes in, the Queen, the Two of Cups, and the Queen. Okay, the Two of Cups is actually a Cancer vibration, and he does have his Venus in Cancer. And the Two of Cups is a love card, right? And so and it is emotional. It is Cancer, right? So there's an emotionality. I don't know if you've ever heard him speak when people don't agree with him or agree with what Donald Trump is doing. He almost becomes hysterical. Okay, that's that Cancer energy. It's like a rush of hysteria. As a Cancer, I can say that. Okay, so that's who Stephen is as a soul coming into this lifetime. This lifetime, his lesson, which is his birthday, is the area of life where his lessons lie. And so it is challenging, especially when you're younger. And then as you develop and as you learn your lessons, you tend to get better with them. Now, his life lesson or his path of life comes from his birthday. And he was born August 23rd, 1985. When we add that all together, we get a 54-9 vibration. The 54-9 is the Page of Swords in the tarot. So it's an air vibration. Now, this is actually mutable air. The pages are all mutable. And of course, the Page of Swords is going to be air. So the Page of Swords is Gemini. Does he have Gemini in his chart? Well, yes, he does. He has a Chiron in Gemini. Chiron is your wound. Okay. Now, the 54-9 is the vibration of somebody who's learning how to work with the element. And it's interesting because when you look at the card in the tarot, and I'm going to just pull it just to kind of, and I know I'm in a small window, so let me see if I can get my points across with this. And this is especially seen in the Rider-Waite deck, which is the deck most people really start with. Okay. So here we have, this is his path of life, right? This can be the spy in the camp. This can be listening to the wind here. But you notice how large the sword is? So this is somebody who's wielding a dangerous weapon, but may not necessarily have the wherewithal or the skill to wield that weapon. And of course, air is words, right? Air is your ability to speak words into the world. So we'll keep that in mind as we go forward. And then the last vibration we're going to look at is his shadow. And the shadow vibration is the wounded part of him, the wounded part of all of us. And the shadow is a vibration that you've come in to heal. It doesn't originate in this lifetime, but is expressed in this lifetime. And you really can't move forward in your evolution unless you attend to the wound. Now, you get that by taking his first name, Stephen, which incidentally vibrates to a 33, and his day of birth, 26. When you add 33, did I say 26? 23, I mean. When you add 33 and 23, we get a 56, and the 56 is an 11. And this is the Two of Swords. So this is his wound. This is a Libra vibration. I don't believe he has Libra in his chart. Hold on, let me see here. I don't think he has Libra. No, I don't think he does. Okay. Um, but this particular vibration, the 5611, sits in a place on the tree of life connected to Uranus, as does his quiescent. His soul vibration and his expression sit in Bina, which is the place of the divine feminine. Chokmah is the place of the divine masculine. And his path of life sits in Malkuth, and that is the earth. That is the kingdom. All right, so let's take a look at his chart. This is his chart with the time that I got from AstroTheme. He is a Virgo. Excuse me. Hold on one minute. Okay. He's a Virgo with a moon in Sagittarius. His moon is conjunct Uranus. This can make somebody mentally and emotionally unstable, having it that close to Uranus. He only has one planet in Virgo, that's his sun, but he has a Mars. Remember I said his soul vibration was Leo energy. Here's Mars and Mercury, and it's a conjunction. So this is somebody who acts on his thoughts. Does he have Libra? No, I don't believe he has Libra. Right, he doesn't have any Libra. He is a Pluto in Scorpio generation soul. And he also has, not only does he have Pluto in Scorpio, but he has the South Node in Scorpio, and he has Saturn in Scorpio. His South Node is actually at the midpoint of his Pluto. Is that correct? I believe so. His Pluto and his Saturn. So I would see this South Node configuration as one big Scorpio bomb with two malefics there, okay? And his nodes are stationary. Generally, when we have stationary nodes, it means that this person will come into their power later in life. So this is something to consider. Whether or not he is able to do what he wants to do with Donald Trump and this administration. Um, God hope that he doesn't. But if he doesn't, he is going to be one of those bad pennies that keeps coming up. So I think we need to really consider that when we, if we want to consider that. Okay, let's go on to the next thing. So this South Node in Scorpio, the nodes of the moon are indicate where we've come from and where we're going, what we've evolved up to, and what we need to move towards in order to continue our evolution. Now, the nodes, the evolutionary journey can be seen in two places in a chart: in the position of Pluto and in the by house and sign, and also by the nodes of the moon. The difference between Pluto and the nodes of the moon is that Pluto is mostly unconscious and the nodes of the moon are very conscious because they're the nodes of the moon, and the moon in a chart is how we react and respond to life. Now, with the moon in Sagittarius, he would react and respond to life in a very Sagittarian way. Sagittarius like to be right. In fact, oftentimes Sagittarius can have this sense of being a bit of a know-it-all. Now, there is a truth to the fact that people with Sagittarius in their chart tend to know a lot because Sagittarius is a sign that seeks knowledge, right? So we can see that in this. And the other thing about a moon in Sag is moon and Sag are pretty sure about their point of view and their opinions. That's made even more so by the fact that he has Pluto in Scorpio, which, Scorpio is Pluto in Scorpio is a powerful place to have Pluto. It's the ruling planet of Scorpio. It's the time that Pluto spends the least amount of time in is in Scorpio, and the most in its orbit in Taurus. It spent 11 years in Scorpio and about 32 years in Taurus. He has his so, but we have the people with Pluto in Scorpio. My feeling is that these are a lot of these souls that came in through very difficult past lives, including things like the camps, right, or genocide, or that kind of energy. Um, there's an Armageddon consciousness with people with Pluto in Scorpio, and I notice that people who come in with Pluto in Scorpio are because Scorpio is to a certain extent a sign of extremes, is they can come in extremely good or extremely bad, extremely able or extremely wounded. Now, I have a feeling that, he's a young guy and he's working for the president. No matter who the president is, he's still working for the president, and he's been working with Trump for a long time. So when you look at it from the outside and you say, well, here's this successful guy, right? He's successful in what he does. However, what he does is terrible, and really quite evil. So having Pluto and Saturn in Scorpio, both conjunct the South Node, indicates that perhaps in his past life he was in fact an authority figure, Saturn in the 10th house, um, that followed his beliefs, Pluto in the ninth house. And of course, Scorpio is the planet of death and rebirth, but it is the planet of death. And so this is somebody who perhaps had a previous lifetime, either as a victim of something like the camps or as a perpetrator of something like the camps. Now, we don't know. I can't really say that per se, save the fact that his actions seem to indicate somebody who has some unresolved issues around cruelty. With the North Node in Taurus, he's really being asked in this lifetime to move into a place of stability. It's in the fourth house. The fourth house is the house of soul. It's sort of deep, soulful sense of worth. And it's the fourth house is the mother house. So a deep sense of worth for the mother, or that mothering energy. This is the guy who separated mothers from their children in the first administration, and now is part of the group that's doing the same thing, separation of families. But this time, instead of just doing it at the border, he's going in and getting ICE to do it. And these people are being sent without due process to gulags and torture chambers, right? So this is not good stuff, right? And he's very sure of what he's doing. He's very sure of not wanting any immigrants. Now, of course, I believe his family, maybe not directly, but certainly had family who lost their lives in the Holocaust. So you would think that this guy wouldn't do this, right? In fact, his family doesn't really understand. I remember seeing an interview with his uncle, and they're like, "We don't know where this comes from. He was raised by liberals, right?" So obviously, there's some issue here with his parents. That's seen in the fact that the nodes are in the fourth and the 10th house, and that Pluto's up at the top of the chart. We have Saturn there. Saturn is authority, so that's going to be an issue. He also has both Jupiter, Mars, and Mercury square the nodes. He actually has a grand square in fixed signs. Grand squares in fixed signs are generally souls that, and because the nodes are connected to this, souls who have deep emotional problems or deep emotional sort of samskara in their karma. And usually with these fixed signs, something has to break. Now, generally, If they're having a fixed square like this can make you feel, or any square really, but if especially fixed, can make you feel like you're imprisoned. And so, if there isn't another planet that's part of the square that has an easier aspect to other planets, then that square can feel like a prison that they can't escape from. So as we look at that, let's see. So we do have a trine from Jupiter uh, to Chiron, which is, of course, the wound. Chiron in Gemini. The 54-9 vibration is mutable air, Gemini. So his path of life is around issues of the wounding, and it could be wounding through speech. He was originally a speechwriter. His path is located in Malkuth. Malkuth is the place of victims and victimizers. Nine, as a nine, is a vibration of unconditional love and healing, but nine can also be a criminal. So he has an option. Will he be somebody who brings um, um, healing to, or will he create victims? And while the 54-9 is connected to, in the system that I use, is connected to Gemini, uh, Malkuth is the place of the earth, and the earth is always opposite the sun. And so his earth is actually in Pisces, and Pisces can be that sense of victimization, right? The Piscean age. The other thing about this is that all his other numbers, save for his path, are pretty much located uh, within these two Sephiroth, Hokmah, the Sephiroth of Uranus, and Bina or Bina, the Sephiroth of Saturn. This is the divine masculine and this is the divine feminine. He actually has his shadow here in the divine masculine, and it's an 11. People with 11 shadows generally in previous lifetimes have chose 11 is always a choice between the light and the dark. And in previous lifetimes, when you have an 11, its chances are that you've chose the dark side of things. And in this lifetime, he has an opportunity to heal that. And up to this point, he seems to be continuing to choose the dark side of things. So an 11 doesn't necessarily, a master number doesn't necessarily mean that you're acting in good faith or that you're spiritual. What it means is that you're responsible for more. So no matter what he does and no matter what happens, he will be held responsible. Whether we will see it in man's justice is another issue, but in cosmic justice, he will. And this is a guy who's already suffering, if you ask me. Now, when you have planets square the nodes, there is a resolution node. Jupiter squares the nodes from this side of the nodes, and the resolution node for Jupiter is the south node. Jupiter is what you believe to be true. So he needs to go back to the past to see this Scorpio energy, right, in the 10th house around issues of abuse of power before he can come in and understand the value of that North node in the 4th house. His Mars and his Mercury also square the nodes, but in this case, the North node is the resolution. So if he were to use this, his writing abilities, his speaking abilities, in order to bring peace and harmony and a sense of security to people, then he would be working for the good, right? But that is not what he's doing. He is actually maybe we could say not appreciating the value of others in this case. All right. Um, so we can see that these are the Sephiroth that are these are connected to the third eye, so he's very psychic. Um, and we'll just look at Saturn. We have Saturn at 23 degrees of Scorpio, a rabbit metamorphosing into a fairy. Refining animal instincts. Some of our baser inclinations can be trained into a higher spiritual expression, transforming our baser instincts. This includes his soul vibration, which is in the Sephiroth of Saturn, and his expression, which is in the Sephiroth of Saturn. And so his soul is really, he would do better to refine his animal instincts, right? His shadow is over here, well, along with his quiescent. Your quiescent is things that you're good at. This is a relationship energy, so he's good at making relationships. But what becomes of those relationships or who he's relating to and what comes of that is not necessarily good. It's just that he's good at making contracts, right? Making commitments. He's a committed guy, especially if he loves somebody. And I really think he loves Donald Trump. So there's that. But his shadow is here, and his shadow is an 11, which is also a relationship energy. So we look at Uranus in his chart. He has Uranus at 14 of Sag. Uranus is sure I'm right. And it's stationary. Whenever a planet is stationary, it's more powerful in his chart in the chart. He also has Uranus in a very tight trine to Mercury. So he's real good at speaking his beliefs, including taking action on them with because Mars is also trine Uranus. But Mars trine Uranus can be somebody who's willing to say the thing that nobody else will say and do the thing that nobody else will do. And he'll probably feel like nobody else has the courage. We probably say nobody's that awful. But this guy is awful. This guy is a very wounded soul. He has his Chiron in Gemini in the fifth house of love. I'm not sure this guy knows what love is. I know he's married. I think he has kids or a kid. And I know he has a mother and father, but it doesn't look like he had a very good relationship with his mother or his father, honestly, that there were issues there. And we see that in the nodes and we see that in the position of Pluto. Now, Pluto evolves through its polarity point. And so, in order for Pluto to evolve, it needs to move in the direction of Taurus in that third house, stabilizing the mind. This guy is crazy. This indicates crazy. Trying this, crazy. This guy is just nuts, right? Now, what else did I want to say? From 2021 to 2030, and I'll show you where I get this a little later. His energy is in this place on the Tree of Life, and this is the place. If we were to overlay the chakra system, uh, the throat chakra, and so his speech will be important. Now, he has this is also oppositional, right? These two planets, these two signs are opposing each other, and that's where we see Jupiter opposing Mars, Jupiter opposing Mercury, and that's part of that giant grand square in fixed signs. All right. Uranus at 14 of Sag. The pyramid and the Sphinx, old knowledge, truth and wisdom are never entirely forgotten, but hide in symbols and memories, waiting to be revised when their time returns, reclaiming old teachings, the past that passed the test of time. Now, he certainly is around, he certainly focused on how things were done in the past, right? Um, the whole fascism, the whole gulag thing, all of that stuff, right? Um, but this could also be a very powerful symbol for good. What I noticed in a lot of these charts, and I saw it in J.D. Vance's chart as well, is that these are souls that have the opportunity to really do some good things in the world, but they're choosing the dark side, at least up to this point, for both of them, for J.D. and for Stephen. The other thing about Stephen's chart is he does have Pluto conjunct the South Node. This is considered um, a special evolutionary condition. People who have Pluto conjunct the South Node have to generally wait till their second Saturn return before they really understand that they even have a North Node. So this is somebody who is stewing in the scorpionic energy, and it is around power and it is around abuse of power, probably until he's 48, 58, 59 years old. So he's not changing anytime soon. But this is a guy who's in quite a bit of hell. Now, when we look at this, this is the divine triangle that we're looking at. This is his path, the 54-9. This is his first 27 years of life, his youth square. We take his name, Stephen, and then we have to do Stephen over again because he doesn't have a middle name, as far as I know. At least it's not listed in on the internet. And his first 27 years of life is under the energy of the 52-7, which is the Queen of Swords, which is located in Bina. That is the Sephiroth of Saturn. And then we have the next 27 years of life, of which he's on this path, this right here. He's actually 39 right now. And so he's on this line. This is an 8 line. This is where I got the 9 years that he's going to be in his throat chakra. Okay, and this is the base of his power. His oh, how did that happen? Sorry. Oh dear. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know what just happened. Let me get back to where I was. Okay. All right. Sometimes sometimes I touch things and then it doesn't happen, and then sometimes I touch thing and it happens all by itself. I don't understand. Um, okay. All right, here we go. His power square is the same as his youth square. This is not an easy energy. This energy, squares are always challenges. So when you see something in a square, we know that this is a challenge. Bina is the place of the dark night of the soul. He's still in his dark night of the soul. And then he's in that for, let's see, 27, 27, 56, 54 years, right? So he's in this prison of his mind. The problem with the Queen of Swords is that they can cut things off too quickly. They're like, nope, you don't belong. They cut people out and they isolate themselves. It's a wound of isolation um, with that. And then we get to his wisdom square, which is the Eight of Pentacles, which is the apprentice card, and it's connected to Mercury. He has Mercury part of that giant square in his chart with the nodes. So this is somebody who has a lot of work to still do. But this is not a happy camper. All right. So what I've done here is in 2024, this is the year that Trump won. We'll put that in quotes. Um, or had it handed to him by Elon, the presidency. So he got to go back into the White House with Trump. He's in a 39-3 vibration. This is the Page of Cups. I mean, excuse me, the Knight of Cups, offering the love, right? So it can be very idealistic, but not very practical. It tends to be in love with love. Is so in love with with whatever it is in love with, and it could be Trump or it could be his ideas or whatever the hell he's in love with. Um, that he doesn't see beyond that. Right now, he is in as of 423, he's in the last section of his year, personal year vibration. 14-5 is a spiritual initiation. It's the Temperance card, and it's a trial by fire. So he is right now in a trial by fire period. In 2025, on his birthday, he will move into a 40/4 year. This is the Page of Cups. And this is the path of life of Donald Trump. So we see him connected in that way. And the first 4 months of that, from 8/23 to 12/23, is a 13/4, which is the death card. And then we have the moon card, and then we have the devil. So this coming year, and of course, 40/4, all the pages are located in um, in Malkuth. It's mutable, and Malkuth is the place of victims and victimizers. And so this doesn't bode well for the people who are in his crosshairs, as it were. So this guy is not changing his stripes. Not that we thought he would, but this is a bad dude. This is a bad dude, and um, in a way, I think Trump gives him the power. If it wasn't for Trump, he wouldn't be able to get away with what he's getting away with. But one of the things that Trump has an ability to do is to really show us who people are. And we are seeing an eyeful of Stephen Miller. All right. So hopefully you found that interesting. Now, I do want to say that Stephen Miller's Saturn um, is at 23 degrees of Scorpio. And we're having a full moon later this month at 23 degrees of Scorpio. So this full moon is very significant for Stephen Miller, and we'll see what comes to fruition at that time. It's right across his axis, his nodes. Whenever the nodes get hit, it's a fateful time. So there's big changes, or there's a big illumination, or something's coming down the pike for Stephen Miller. And honestly, I wouldn't want to be him. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. So this is the type of work I do. If you'd like to know how to do it, and how I come to these things, you can be part of the class. Again, it starts on the 15th. I'll try to get a couple of these done between now and the 15th so you can get an idea. But until I see you again, have a great day, and I'll see you soon. There are links below for all the information for the class, for the membership if you want to be a member on YouTube. Um, but give me at least a thumbs up and a like, and then and maybe a comment, and share with your friends if you think they'd be interested in this. Okay, guys, take care. I'll see you soon. Namaste.